RSK softball tournament, the tournament of the ages. And wow, look who pops on. Fashionably 12 seconds late. The new dubbed king of the RSK tournament. We'll get to everything in a second. We have Sam Sutton on, of course, the legend in the softball world for wears many different shirts on his back. Sam is extremely well respected in all of softball, in the SY world for sure, and of course in the Ashkenaz world as well. And we were, second time having him on. We appreciate him coming back. Sam rocked as he always does the MC by the tournament yesterday, and he was on. He just left for a second, but we'll get into him in a minute. Sam, appreciate you coming on to recap this day with us.
So really, yesterday was a fantastic day, like you said, from top to bottom. The attention to detail that the team at RSK does, and I'm just a participant, just like you are. You're a player. No, we have a lot of razors here also, but that's not what we're going to be chatting about. But just before you get into the actual nuts and bolts of the tournament, like of the actual gameplay, I think we would be remiss not to discuss. If you look at every last detail it's covered, they really are a players first, and it comes through in a tremendous way. Whether it be myself on stage, or whether it be the camera crews, or the food, or they pull out all stops, and I know everyone feels it. And when it started off the day with a little rain, it easily could have been dampered, but nobody was deterred. Everyone was like, all right, cool, let's just keep going. And as soon as it cleared up, it actually was a blessing in disguise, and Hashem is great, because it ended up being a perfect day. Like, the humidity broke a little bit, and it really was first class, top quality. And without further ado, let's get into the gameplay.
Well, Sam, you're talking about top quality. You left out a very important part of that, which is the host, the voice, the man who proclaimed recently, "I am softball." Now, I don't know, having you at the event obviously adds to all the class, all the elegance, all the amazingness, and you're such a humble man as well that you don't even mention that when reviewing.
No, I honestly, it has nothing to do with me. David, I appreciate the kind word. I don't think I bring much, but one thing: I bring energy. You got to keep the energy up. You have to keep the professionalism up. Everyone asks all day, why are you wearing a suit and tie? I'll tell you why you're wearing a suit and tie. Because when you're hosting an event, and when you're literally on microphone talking to everybody, it adds, like you said, to the chashivas to the event. And again, Hashem gave me the ability to not shut up. It is what it is. But if you keep it coming from top to bottom, I know it comes through, and I know, listen, they keep calling me back, so I know I'm doing a good job. But it ain't me. It's everything around me, the atmosphere, which allows me to do that. It's really a combination. It's like a real good partnership between the players, the organization, and myself. And I'm happy to be back year in, year out, because I really think, listen, I've been a part of softball days. And first of all, I never proclaimed to be the king of softball.
No.
I just am involved.
You didn't say you're the king of softball. You said, "I am softball."
But that's true. That's true.
I have the text. I am softball.
Listen, at the end of the day, whenever there's a softball tournament, whenever there's a softball big event, I'm the one there. So I guess I am softball, And so the funny thing is, I don't even play. I used to play. I used to be pretty good. But after I got injured, I said, listen, if I can't contribute on the field anymore, I may as well contribute the ways that I can. And listen, I'm there. I'm happy to be there. And if they keep calling me back, it means I'm doing a good job. And I'm not in it for the kudos, the praise, the props. I don't care about that. I'm there to enhance the events. That's it. And if I'm doing my job, I'm doing my job. But I appreciate it.
One second, Sam. First of all, show everybody the pin on your jacket.
I got a Sam I Am Productions lab-grown diamond pin, in addition to my Sam I Am Pro hat.
Second off, saying that by lunch, Sam Sutton went on stage, and he probably raised about $60,000-$70,000 from people sitting around, just from saying, who's going to think, I got a sponsor here, just making almost like an auction out of it.
Yeah.
And probably $60,000 or $70,000 raised at lunch. Thank you to Sam Sutton. Just
I was on that. Listen, I saw the number was close to 1 million, and listen, amazing everybody that contributed. We hit the 1 million mark. We did it. We actually did it. But when I saw it so close, I took it upon myself. I said, listen, I told Matis, and Matis was not a fan of this. He told me not to do it, but I really didn't care. I said, Matis, what are they going to get mad at me? They're going to get mad at me? Who cares if they get mad at me? You, I get it. You can't solicit right now. You did enough. Everyone here did enough. I said, but I really don't care. And I told Aaron Ben Huden also, who's one of my favorite people in the world. I said, Aaron, I don't care. If I can bring it close to the million, and listen, Hashem did it, not me. But we did it. Everyone contributed. Everyone felt, and I didn't care if I was annoying on stage because we actually accomplished the goal. At the end of the day, the Kitzer were there to raise money for RSK, and we did it. And I did it like you said, Uri. I am a fantasy football auctioneer at the better part of the end of August for about 20 different leagues. I brought that approach to it, and it worked. You bring it, and people they want to hear me shut up at the end of the day. So it helped. It helped contribute. And again, that was to me probably the highlight of my day, raising those $50,000, $60,000 that we brought in. That was awesome.
Sam, a guy offered $10,000 for Sam to shut up and for the games to start at 1:00. He's like, I'll give $10,000, get this guy off the stage, and let the game start at 1:00.
By the way, one more small nuance before we get into the game, which we're about to right now, with three-time RSK tournament champion Uri Adler.
And I think he is, just one thing, Avi, Sam is softball. Uri is the king of softball. Important distinction. Go ahead, Avi.
Yes.
That's a good point. The lunch, I didn't think, we could take note from this for the gauntlet, Dave. That dairy lunch was something else. The way they did that, that was incredible. Last year, I know I'm a dairy guy, so give me a big ziti, I'm good to go. Last year was a lot of chirping. Oh, you went from meat to dairy, and it was too heavy, and they did. It was amazing.
Well, they had pizza, right? They had pizza.
But they also had lighter
that
stuff
pizza.
too. They had sushi.
Sushi, light pastas, light pizzas.
They had the poke bowls. So Hank DeWitt got on stage, my co-host in Chronicles, got on stage to give a special shout out to that thought process. Yeah. There were poke bowls, and not only were there poke bowls, that pizza that you just mentioned before, it was thin pizza. They do events. It was awesome. It was awesome. And like in years past, it takes time to get things right. And I feel like they finally came and they figured out the right balance of the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I didn't hear one complaint from anybody about the food. Everyone was loving it.
That's remarkable. I mean, there's an old joke. A waiter comes over to a group of Jews sitting at a restaurant and eating lunch. And he says, ladies, gentlemen, is anything okay with your meal? I guess it didn't.
That is the old Jewish joke. Yeah, no, it didn't go over well, but haha.
I'm not the king of jokes. All right, so that's really amazing, and we should take notes, Avi.
Yes.
Uri, what were you?
Yeah, definitely. The food situation was very well done. They had a lot of food. Unfortunately, I don't really get to experience the event at these things because 4 years I've been.
Because you're doing so much winning. What a humble brag, Uri. Uri, what a humble brag.
It's not, because at the end of the day, I don't know. I really don't know how the players' lounge is. I don't know. I was asking somebody afterwards. I said, "How is the player?" I'm not trying to brag. I'm serious. So
I'll tell you the truth, Uri. The players' lounge. You go?
I didn't go. It opens at 3:00. I was playing.
Right, so they have hookahs set up, they have couches set up, they have beers, they have chips and nachos and hot pretzels. It's a chill. And there's a spot for the players to put their bags and relax, and it's a nice little chill, because if you go into the family area with all the food in that tent, it's very chaotic. So you get a special bracelet. They actually had a guard by the door, and he was so mockbid not to let anyone in that didn't have the bracelet. Even I had a hard time getting in. I'm like, bro, get the hell out of here. Move. He's like, no, you don't have a bracelet. And he ended up letting me in, but it was such a serious thing. And they had showers and they had a whole changing area behind it. So, like I said before, every attention to detail was paid. They spared no expense. And I love it. That's the reason why I love the day. And everyone feels it.
It was so serious. You had Jimmy Malach there with his 10 or 11-year-old boy. And it was just them two, I think. And, maybe his wife was somewhere else. And he wanted to go in. Poor Jimmy, I think he just got thrown out of the championship game. The guy wanted to go in there to grab a pretzel or whatever it was. And he asked the security guards, can I bring my 11-year-old kid in? I have nowhere to put him. He's like, nope, can't do it. He's like, you got to bring him around, and you'll meet him on the other side of the tent, on the other side of the food. I'm like, hey, poor
I mean,
person.
and the guy was menacing also. Avi, he was menacing. He had the big arms and tats,
Yeah,
and the guy was
yeah.
sitting there like a regular bouncer out of a club.
I was gonna say, it looks
Menacing.
like a
But
All
bouncer.
right, so let's get
to
into the
finish, no, David,
softball.
David, to finish my point about the food was that some
Yeah.
years, maybe 2, 3 years ago, I don't remember exactly. You get the players after they play the championship, and the players playing, they get to the food tent and like, oh, there's no more brisket. Like this year, we got there and everything was still out. Everything was there. We didn't miss anything because we were playing. Like everything, food wise, everything was there. We got everything. There was no shortage. Like it was awesome. They saved for the players who were
So,
playing.
so
Everything
Uri,
worked
you want
out.
to hear Uri? Uri, I'm going to take you behind the curtain for a minute. What does RSK pride themselves on? And that is management. Manage your money properly, right? So now, that being said, money management, they figured it out. I don't think they even spent more money. I think they just spent it more wisely. And they figured out a way to really keep everybody where they needed to be, when to be. There's enough for everything, enough for every time. They stopped it at the right. They managed the matziv perfectly. And okay, I think that's enough. Enough tooting the horn of RSK. Let's talk about the games. Let's go.
By the way, a big shout out to Yossi Rosenberg. I asked him to join us, but he told me that he's currently moving. So he's hectic week for this guy. RSK tournament yesterday, moving today. But let's get down to the softball. So we all know Uri won. Congratulations, Mazel Tov.
Appreciate it.
The
Thank you.
king of
Thank you.
softball, and also something else will have to be declared. We'll get to that a little bit later. But before that, let's get into some of the gameplay. First of all, most intriguingly, Jonathan Lowinger takes a big L and an early exit. I want to get to his team first, unless you guys have
Well,
some
his
more
exit,
general
his
things
exit
you
was
want to share.
his exit was exactly at the same time as Ellie Race's was.
Okay. Tell me more. Go ahead. Go ahead, Uri.
They both lost. I think earlier than they anticipated. Listen, there's nothing more to say. I mean, they both lost in the semis. At the end of the day, when you come into a tournament, you have an A tier and a B tier, and the A tier is 6 teams. They're competitive games. They're tough games. Every single one. There's no even the 2 weaker teams held their own, right? Avi had a lead, and I don't want to rub it in, but Avi had a lead in the bottom of the 7th, right? To knock out the team that eventually made it to the championship. Every single team, even the weaker ones, could have easily knocked somebody off. It wasn't. We had 6 teams. They're all competitive. So yeah, you come in with a great team, but they're all great teams. So in a 7-inning game, a quick game, anything can happen. That's just the way it is. Our semifinals.
And you know what's funny? Amazingly enough, Uri, amazingly enough, the tier 2 was the same way. Like everybody was competitively stacked perfectly. So it was look who's here.
Hey,
Look who is here.
I had a minute to jump in.
Hey,
Just say hi. I was listening in. I love all the. Hang on 1 second.
I don't know what this means. Yeah, go ahead, Jesse. Sorry.
I totally lost my train of thought. But Sam, you were great yesterday. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So
you were saying something about something.
I love to do it. We got to stop talking. Let's stop talking about Sam for a minute, please.
well, Yossi, we have
Sam,
here.
who are you fooling?
Sam,
You love it, Sam. You love it. Who are you
Yossi,
fooling? You love that we're talking
Sam
about you.
is
I do.
Sam is softball. Uri is the king of softball. What is Yossi Rosenberg?
A bystander.
Softball management.
So Yossi, what were your thoughts on yesterday?
Yossi is the commissioner of softball. Yossi is the commissioner of softball.
So Yossi, what were your thoughts on yesterday?
My thoughts on yesterday was it was. I'll be honest. It was a lot of stress with the rain in the beginning, and a lot of on the fly trying to correct things and get things on schedule and all that. But at the end of the day, it all worked out, and it took a lot of buy-in and cooperation from players and guys understanding that they got that things we're figuring it out on the fly, and guys that weren't complaining, we sent them to this field, that field to get it moving, and guys really rolled with it, and that was the key to success for getting things back on track. And I'll tell you, when we lost that first round, the first seeding games to rain and lightning, We were scrambling, trying to figure out how to correct it, get us, and we were talking about shortening games and all of that and this. And in the end, we managed to get everything in except for we cut each seeding game by 1 inning. So we managed to get everything in, and it was all because buy-in players and Sam also controlling lunch. Normally lunch goes longer. We were able to cut it down to get things moving. Umpires rolled with it. That was amazing. It was a lot of buy-in by a lot of people to make it happen, and that was huge.
Round
That's
of applause.
amazing.
No, but Yossi, I got to tell you, I got to give props to you, Yossi, because I watched you on the fly, the wheels turning as it was happening, and you were like chick chock, thinking fast on your feet. And like you said, a lot of people do have to buy in, but there has to be a captain and a director that really gives the directions for people to buy into, because no one's just going to go haphazardly go places. So what I saw you do in real time was special, because without that, it would have been chaos. It really would have been.
Yeah, and look, I want to give a lot of. This is where I want to give a lot of credit to other commissioner Yakov Kahana. He was super, super helpful with it. Me and him bouncing ideas off each other to get this. And then I was also playing. So as much as the ideas were a big part of mine, Yakov had to carry the burden of actually executing it by going to the fields, making sure, and that was also like tremendous. Tremendous. And again, like
Yeah,
I said, the players
just
had
from a
to be on
player
board.
standpoint. Yeah, from my team, we were at, let's say, I'm just going to give you field numbers. We were at field 2. Okay, we got rained out. It didn't work out. I get a text from Yossi. Right, he says, okay, at Ellie Race, at Uri Adler, go to field 3. Actually, sorry, before that, he says, okay, skip your first playing game, go straight to your second playing game, which was on field 1. So my team walks to field 1. 3 minutes later, we get a text from Yossi. Okay, sorry, at Uri Adler, at Uri Race, go to field 3. All my guys go, and we walk to field 3. A minute later, we get, actually, everyone play your first seeding game. We're going to try to get seeding games after lunch. All my guys walk to field 1. 0. Nobody looked at me and said, what are we doing? Why are we walking around the whole park? Everybody just shut their mouth and realized, listen, this is a situation nobody anticipated. And everyone just walked to field 2, walked to field 3, walked to field 1, and played ball and didn't say a word, because they understood that, hey, this is not a situation anybody wanted. This is a situation we're in, and everyone has to buy in and just do whatever they're told. And they walked in a circle and didn't say a word. 0 complaining out of my guys. So shout out to my guys, and I think all the players were the same. So it's a big shout out.
Absolutely. A huge shout out to all the guys who did the walking and all of that. And honestly, I know it's super frustrating, like the umpires. It's very frustrating when you see one part of the park, everyone's playing, and then only your 2 games, the umpires aren't letting it happen. It's super frustrating. And then you're being told, go here, go here, go here. But all the guys rolled with it, went with it, and that was a huge, huge part of success. So, yeah, Uri, like you said, huge shout out to all the players and you as the captain.
Didn't do nothing, but okay. It happens to be pretty crazy that when a day starts like that with the rain, it's easy to it could have easily went away where we're here Monday the day after and we're looking back and be like, the rain, it wasn't as good as past years. It could have ruined the vibe, and I don't think anybody let that happen, and it ended up being just as good or better than past years. So
Right, I would say, to be honest, by the end of the day, it was practically forgotten. I mean, I
yeah,
don't think anyone was. I don't think there's anybody talking about it at all
Yeah.
at the end
there's
of the
no
And I
day.
talk
think the
about it.
key was that we were able to get in straight 7 inning playoff games,
Yeah,
which was the
yeah.
initial plan. Now the umps might kill me after the fact when I speak to them, but we managed to do it.
Yeah.
Uri, what was the name of your team? Oh, we just
All
lost
right,
you.
Blue,
sorry, I gotta
Blue,
run. I gotta run,
Blue
but
Sound.
take
I'm
care.
I'm looking forward to listening to all the feedback and thoughts from the day.
Take
You
care.
got
See you,
it. Thanks
Yossi.
for
Thanks for
popping
coming
on,
on.
Yossi.
Uh,
I'm just looking at your team. I don't know too many of the players on the team. Heavy Syrian influence, I could see.
And my team,
Yeah.
not some
Well, I
3
see
Syrians,
Gindi,
maybe,
Soroya, a couple of
and
Dwecks.
Sefaradi.
I mean, it seems like half.
Oh, Hank,
A
but
guy
Hank's
with
not
the
really Syrian.
a guy with the last name Safaradi. I don't know if
Yeah,
he's
no.
Syrian.
So there was Gindi, Sefaradi, Saruya, and Hank were the 3 Syrians. Four Syrians, but Hank's only half Syrian because he's not Syrian for all practical purposes except for his last name. But that's it. Mostly Lakewood and a couple sprinkled in others.
Okay, I'm trying to get to all the I'm trying to look at the roster of the Tier 1 teams. What was the name of Lowenger's team?
I don't know. Mo Sports Training.
Oh, he was Mo Sports. So let's take a look. Feintuch. Oh, Jack Ross. Cheskiewicz, Saliasis. Zinn, Grossman. Oh, so Grossman. So who did Lowenger lose to in the semis?
To Yitz Greenmail. And from Rosenberg. Yossi Rosenberg.
They lost to that squad. Okay. Wait, so there are all 6 teams make it to the playoffs?
Put it this way, okay? Just leading up to the HSL MSL game, the 2 pitchers that made it to the championship were Naftali Salman and Yitz Greenmail. The pitchers and teams that lost in the semis were Jonas Lowenger and Glenn Zuckerman and Kaufman.
So, wait, Glenn Zuckerman's not a pitcher.
But the pitcher was Kaufman, and Glenn was on the team, and whoever else, Archie was on that team, and those guys.
So you're suggesting that this was really
it's not a coincidence.
You're saying that this was actually...
No, I'm suggesting it's not a coincidence. That's it.
Got it.
Well, we'll see on July. What is it? July 16th is the date, I think.
15th. I thought they were.
15th.
I don't remember. Wait. So all 6 teams make the playoffs in the RSK tournament.
So the way it worked is that there's 2 seeding games, and then the 2 top teams sort of get a bye, and then there's a quarterfinal.
Oh, they get a bye. So Jonas and Ellie lost in the quarterfinal.
No, they got the buys.
No. Jonas got a bye, and Race got a bye with Cal.
They got the buys. Oh,
my team. We won our first seeding game. We played Race in the second seeding game. We were up 4-1 in the top of the last inning.
What's the name of Race's team, by the way? I want to pull up the roster.
Metro Builders.
Okay.
We won the first one. They beat us in a seeding game. We were up 4-1 going to the last inning, and they came back and won the game, which gave them the bye and made us play in a quarterfinal game.
Who was pitching for them? Daniel Ash or
Daniel Ash pitched. Daniel Ash pitched the seeding game for them, and then we played them in the semis, and Cal pitched.
Race is saying there was no bye; it was a fake.
Yeah, and I know that Salah Cease was not too happy.
Well, Salah Cease is a different team, so I'm going to go there in a second. But the bye was a half bye because basically what happened is that there was buys. They didn't have to play a quarterfinal game, but those 2 top teams played a quote unquote meaningless game. They get to choose a choosing game where whoever wins that game gets to pick their semifinal opponent. That game was like officially 2 innings. It was kind of a joke. I don't know exactly what happened with that, but Lowenger won that game and he picked Get Scream Out.
That's why Yitz was in such a good mood this morning.
Which made us play Race in the semis. Our semi games was our semifinal game versus Kaufman was maybe the wackiest game ever, and the craziest stuff happened in that game. We were up 6-3, going to the top of the 7th. They tied it up 6-all. A couple hits, whatever. They tied it up. Bottom of the 7th. Our Levine on my team gets up and hits a absolute bomb. I'm talking about a ball that's probably still traveling, okay? A bomb down the right field line off Kaufman. As like the right fielder's picking it up as he's rounding third type. He gets home, we're all celebrating, we're jumping, and the umpire is just sitting there staring, and we're like, what? They basically throw the ball to home plate, and the umpire is like, he's out, he never touched home plate. So basically we had a...
Now you were talking about that. There was a rule, Uri, that you were referring to that the umpire was not listening to you on. What was that rule?
There's a rule in women's softball probably about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. Same exact thing happened. And there's a rule in softball that play after a home run touching home plate is not appealable. You can't appeal it.
Appendix G.
It's Appendix G. Appendix G in the rule book says that play is not reviewable. However, the difference is in this case, the umpire was explaining to me, is that this is not a home run because there's no fence, so it's inside the park. So it's not an over the fence home run, which is one thing because it's not an automatic home run. The second thing is that he never called him safe. In that game, the umpire had called safe, and then they went back and tried to review it. In this case, the umpire said, I saw him never touch home plate, and I never called him safe. So therefore, it is reviewable and it is appealable, and they called him out. It's a terrible way to as in a tournament where the guy hits that type of shot, and also the video shows him either on the base or really close to it. So why go insert yourself in a game? The guy had a walk-off nuke. You can insert yourself in the game and call him, and you're going to call him out because he didn't touch home plate when the ball
By the
wasn't even
way,
close.
Dave,
It's just a stupid
Dave,
call to make.
you know who pointed it out right away? If you had to take one guess, don't say anything, Uri. You go through Ellie Race's roster. You take one guess on who the guy who would point out that he missed home plate would be on that roster. Who do you guess points it
You
out?
gotta give me the name of Ellie Race's team again.
What's the
Metro
name?
Builders.
Sluggers, Metro Sluggers.
Take one guess. Who you think?
I could see it going in different directions.
It's an easy. I mean, it's an easy answer if you have.
Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it.
Don't
It's an
overthink
easy.
it. Nenner.
No,
No.
not even close. No.
Oh, so I don't get. I'm missing the Zach here.
Glenn
Glenn.
Zuckerman,
Okay.
right away. Glenn
He even
Zuckerman.
brought up exhibits. He brought up Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
Oh, you mean because he has Nenner has a good attention to detail also.
Basically, after that, the next pitch, I think Katz was up. He doubled, and then like 3 pitches later, my brother hit a single and walked it off. So like it lasted another like 2 batters.
So
but
Uri, are
it
you
was
pulling
just-
like a Michael Jordan getting elected to the Hall of Fame here? Like you won the tournament, but you're like still showing up and still complaining about things that you should have won.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you what happened. I'm telling you what happened in the game. It was just a wild sequence. At the end of the day, we won the game anyway, and I think had we lost the game, it would have just been bad overall because Yossi Kaplan I was talking to him after the game. He's like, at that point when you lose, right? In our heads, we lost. It's not fun to go back on the mound and then win that game and then keep going when you know you're really lost. It's not like a close play. It's not like something it was a bomb. The guy hit. You tip your cap. The guy hit a home run. He said it was like a weird situation.
So he didn't like that Glenn appealed. Yossi didn't like that Glenn appealed it.
No, he said, listen, the umpire was there. It happened, but when you go back on the mound, it's just a weird feeling.
Yeah,
That's what
Yossi
he
was
said.
telling me after, saying it was like a weird situation, like you should have lost and somehow you didn't lose and like you're back on the mound again now and like everyone's like all riled up. He said it's a weird situation to be in,
I'm not sure I see it that way. That's interesting. I wouldn't,
because it's one of those hits that 90%, 99% of umpires, they see that hit, they're walking to their car. Good game,
Right.
guys. They're not watching that. They're not looking for that because it was such a home run that you just walk to your car. Like everybody, we were like the guys on the team were walking off the field before the ball even came back at the game field.
Okay, so that was
like-
during one of the playing games, right?
That was
No,
that was the
semifinal.
semifinals.
Oh, that was the semifinal.
He walked it off to go to the championship, and the umpire called him out because he didn't touch home plate.
Okay, wow. Oh, that was to get into the championship. Now I get
To
the
get
story.
into the championship.
That is crazy. Now I get why you're telling
Nuts.
the story. That is
Yeah, I'm not sure.
nuts.
Yes.
Okay. It's a walk-off homer to get into the champs. That is a good one. Wow.
It's crazy. Luckily,
is crazy.
and the umpire told me after, he's like, I see what I see. If I see it, I have to call it. And he said afterwards, he admitted that he's happy that we won the game because he doesn't know what would have happened had we lost.
Yeah, I overheard him talking with the other umpire before the championship game. He was like, you should have seen what happened in my game. The guy in the team hit a bomb, but he just missed home plate. It was so clear to me. But I'll tell you one thing. Oh, boy, am I happy they won the game. Oh, boy, am I happy.
By the way, that is a great job by Glenn. I think, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe Yossi sees it differently.
I mean, the video shows him either on the base or really close to it.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
not like this egregious. It's not like this egregious thing where he just ran to the dugout, and didn't. He
Got
was
it.
definitely very close to the base, if not on it. So like, it's such a nitty gritty, like almost, I don't want to say sore loser-ish, but like a sore loser-ish way of going about it. Like we missed home plate. Like come on. If he
Uri,
did,
so
it was
you were
by a millisecond.
You were messaging me that Glenn had a rough day at the plate.
I heard that Glenn had a tough day at the plate. This was the word around the street.
The word on
Yeah,
the
we
street
played-
was that the HSL batting champ only collected how many hits over the course of the day?
I think it was 2 or 3. I saw him have 2, but I think the only times I was there videoing he got hits. I have 2 videos of him getting hits, but apparently he didn't get a hit other
That's
than that.
funny.
I think he walked a bunch of times. I think he went like 2 for 7 or something with a few walks, I think was what he won or something like that. I
And
spoke to Glenn about it. Glenn said he wasn't prepared. He was honest with me. He said, I didn't know he said he's played triple headers before on Sundays, and he didn't have an issue. This is different. It's a totally different ball game out there in the sun for 7-8 hours like that. He said it's draining, so it was extremely difficult for him to like swing the bat with full force. He was so tired.
Really?
Something
How
like
many
that.
at-bats are you getting over the course of the RSK day?
Probably 20, 25.
Depends on what you play. If you go through the championship,
Yeah.
you're probably
If you go to
getting.
the championship, probably 20, 25.
I mean,
Uri,
yeah.
what was the highest batting average on your team at the end of the day?
I wasn't really counting.
Is it something like 600-700 or something like 300-400?
It could be guys at 600-700. I don't know. It's such a long day, and you don't like really, as I'm making a lineup, I'm trying to think who's hot and who's not. But like, it's not. You don't really know. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really keep stats, and I really, like, some guys were hot, some guys hit well. I don't really know.
Sounds like Ellie Reyes is a little salty. He posted that he had an ump calling the game from behind the pitcher.
Yeah, Ellie, Yeah.
Oh, look who's here!
Hey, what's up?
How are you? Welcome to the show. I heard you're in a very good mood after getting picked for the semis, and by Lowinger, and then smacking the crap out of him.
Well, I'm here to congratulate Uri again. I wish I could take credit for the beating Lowinger in the semis, but I actually spent all my energy beating Avi in all the other games. So I didn't even.
So wait, so you lost in the championship to Uri?
Well, no. My team did, yes.
Yitz didn't pitch.
I probably would have also. Unfortunately, I was gassed. I was done. I was going back and forth to the bathroom every 5 minutes. It was a great game. I'm watching most of this, and I'm just going to say, I think the theme of the day, other than the event itself, was pitching. We came with probably the best offensive team I could put together of guys I knew, and we couldn't hit. We scored so few runs. Avi shut us down. He was up 2-0 in the bottom of the 7th. Even the first game, he gave up a few runs in the first inning, but that was it. We had Al Tenenbaum, Noam Block, Jimmy Malak from, we'll talk about him soon, I guess. Jimmy Malak. These guys didn't hit at all. No one hit. And all teams, I watched, even the championship game, Uri had a huge hit, but it was a low-scoring game. It was a final 4-2, I believe. And some of them we would call like bad runs. It was amazing.
I did like this. I said this to my team after. I said, "There's a pitcher who pitched for Effie this year. His name is Monty Davis. He's a good pitcher. He's a really good pitcher. And when you go in and you're facing, when we went into the game facing Monty Davis, we felt like, whoa, we have a break. We're not facing a top-tier pitcher. And this guy's a great pitcher. So it was like, it's the weird mindset of like, oh, we got to face Mutty. And Mutty's good, but he's not Kaufman, he's not Ash, and he's not Yitz, and he's not Stern, he's not all these other pitchers that were there. It was like crazy because I was thinking to myself, like, Mutty's a good pitcher. But to us in that tournament, it's like, hey, he's the weakest one here. And it like was like a breeze, but it really wasn't. So like, yeah, pitching was definitely there. I mean, my pitcher, Naftali Salmon, was phenomenal all day. He was awesome. Yeah, pitching was definitely a big story of this tournament.
That's interesting, Uri, because you and I, in private conversations, I think, you've said that the hitting has been getting better and better every year.
It has, which is why it's such a story that the pitching was so good. Because hitting has gotten so good and hitters have gotten so good. When you have pitchers who can just navigate, you have to remember these lineups in Tier A are like 9-10 deep. It's not like 6 deep and then you're going like a weaker hitter. They're 9-10 guys deep. Real hitters. I batted 11 most of the day because there was no drop off from 1 to 11, so I might as well bat 11. Get more guys in. Like that's how most of the lineups were. And
what pitchers were just Uri, what a captain you are.
I did. I batted 11. Look at
that.
Uri, I batted lower than 11 in my lineup.
You batted 10?
I didn't bat.
Okay. That's what I'm saying.
Yitz, are you the captain of your team?
Yeah. I'm smart enough to know that I'm not batting in these games, wherever.
So what did you do in the championship, Yitz?
I mean, Avrami Rosenberg is batting 10th in your lineup. That's not a guy who's a 10-er, right?
Avrami was slotted out in the semifinals also.
Yeah, I'm saying that's how deep the lineups were. And And
You
pitchers
know,
can
I think in
navigate.
A-League, I have a theory. I mean, I know RSK is a special tournament, but this also feeds my theory a little bit. I think A-League guys don't really understand the difference between B-League and A-League. Sorry, let me phrase this differently. A-League teams in this region are super teams. That's my sense. Every team is trying to build a super team, and that makes it that a lot of people feel too intimidated to bring their squad to the A-League. And something that proved this for me is that Jonas and Lowinger is playing in the A-League and LBA, and he told me that there's only really 3 teams that have shaykhs that can win the championship in the whole.
But there's only 6. There's only 6 teams to begin with.
I understand, but I have a feeling those 3 teams are super teams.
Well, it depends what super teams means.
What super teams mean is that what super team means is that you're I can't put this guy on my team, and I understand the level of competitiveness. It makes sense, but I can't put this guy in my team unless he never makes errors and he in a B league he'll hit 600 or 700, whereas in an A league maybe he'll hit 100 or 200 points lower. It's a mentality that I need a stud. The starting point here, I have it more clear now. I'm glad we're hacking it out. It seems to me the attitude of A league captains is I need a stud at every position, and that to me is a super team. So then you only end up having in all of Lakewood, you end up only having 3 teams that can compete, because you're trying to put a stud at every position. I don't know if there's a solution to that.
Well, there is, and Sam Sutton's is
draft.
But no, I see super teams a little bit differently.
So
I see it coming out of his mouth.
For me, a super team is a team that's far better than others.
For a minute. Wait on this for a minute. First, you bring up the LBA Tier A. Out of the Tier A, out of those 3 teams, maybe you could make a super team from combining the 3 teams that will compete in this tournament. Maybe 2 of the teams, I would say, because that's just the nature of it. They're not studs everywhere in those 3 teams. We thought so, Uri, but it's just not the case. Same thing for M&S. Maybe you can combine 2 teams and put together a team that will compete in this tournament. Yes, but it's more of a buy-in thing. It's like if you're not able to mentally buy in to be on that quote-unquote super team, and your ego will take a hit because if you're a center fielder, you're playing left field, and if you're a shortstop, you're playing third base or second base. You need that part of the mentality too. And you said a great point in the chat last night, you're never going to have ever a drafted situation because 90% of these guys, and they're losers for that matter, 90% of these guys will only play with their boys. And to me, I never understood that mentality at all, because to me, I look at softball as, how do you think I met 90% of the people that I know in my life? It's because of the leagues that I'm a part of. And you're never going to break outside that box, but unfortunately, that is the climate, and that is the temperature of what these things became. It became a camaraderie, boys / all-stars popularity type thing, and that's not going to change. So I think we can take that out of our head. Once you said that in the chat last night, I am mosquing to it 100%. It's never going to be. However, that is the solution, but unfortunately, it's never going to come into fruition. Never.
I don't think it was a problem. This year, I don't think it was a problem. You had 6 teams, so you had less teams. 4 of them, 100% were neck and neck with each other. And the other 2 were good. They both almost won and knocked one of those top teams out. So it's not like it wasn't really a problem, right?
Did I just lose Uri?
Yeah, Uri's quiet. He probably got a call.
So you guys disagree with me.
You're back, Uri. You're
No,
back.
I just think for me, a super team is a team that's far better than the rest. If every team's a super team, then none of them are super teams.
No,
They're
but
just all competitive.
okay, fine. Call it what you want. When you have only 3 teams that can win the championship in that team,
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's true about those 3 teams. But I'm saying in this tournament there were 6 teams. 4 of them could have easily won the championship, and the other 2, I don't know if they could have won the championship. They definitely could have put together some sort of run. 100%.
It's so interesting. Ellie Race, who's really salty about yesterday, he says they were stuck on field 9. Field 9 was a field, basically no shade. We were there for 3.5 hours and we got drained. Ellie, Glenn Zuckerman's also complaining that he was tired yesterday. But he's 30 years older than you. But it's so interesting. You plan this tournament and you were talking about Uri with that crazy thing with the call and the ump and the this and the that. You plan tournaments, you have rule books, you have stuff, and then you have this crazy thing that Ellie Race ends up on this field. Nobody realized that he'd be stuck in the sun for 3.5 hours. There's just so many details you have to attend to. It's crazy, and that does sound unfair if it was a Sunday.
Yeah, but I played him in the semis in the same field, so I'm not complaining about the field.
No,
Yeah,
he
Dave,
he was stuck out there. He's saying he was stuck on that field for hours.
I was there for
I was-
2.5 hours. He was there for 3 hours. I'm saying.
I was gonna say on that point also small little details. So it's funny because and this still I'll speak up on this and then I'll let Uri and everyone else take it away. I don't have much to say here except for being part of the host. We ended up as Uri mentioned and Sam mentioned earlier, the first game Yossi mentioned it came on almost all the both first game tier 1 games were rained out. The only game that played was us versus Yitz. So the weather wasn't horrible. It was rainy. It was annoying. It was hard to get a good grip on the ball. It wasn't horrible. However, what it did do is after that game ended for like 20, 25 minutes, half an hour, it was pouring. Then the sun came out. So then I'm sitting there in the sun, and then I don't pitch the second playing game after lunch. So you're talking a good 3.5 hours between then and when I actually pitched in the quarterfinals. So I'm pitching in the quarterfinals, and all of a sudden I'm feeling that same like nothingness and that same like tiredness that I felt in that the second RSK year when we lost in that championship area, where I felt like totally dead and defeated. And I wonder, my wife, my mother was there. I'm like, why am I so tired? Am I that out of shape? And I realized it's because my from my body's perspective, it's practically as if I'm in the championship from going 4 hours in the sun and not doing anything. So I went over to my other pitcher, Avi Kurtz. Shout out to Avi. He was a great captain and brought a great team. Like Uri said, we definitely weren't anywhere close talent-wise to any of the top 4 teams. However, these kids were athletic. They were sharp in the field. And we actually started hitting, I won't say hitting. We hit more than we did all day in that last inning, in the 7th inning. And we had a couple kids who had the ability to hit who didn't hit. But, I went over to Avi Kurtz going into that last inning, and I said, Avi, so I told him exactly. I said, my last memory feeling like this was walking off the mound with 1 out in the 7th inning of the RSK Championship Year 2, down 12-3 or whatever it is. I don't want that to happen again. And Avi looked at me in the eyes. He's like, listen, it's like, I know you're tired, but you carried us till now. You threw, I think it was a 1-hitter or 2-hitter through 6. He's like, you got to finish the game. I'm like, okay. I get on the mound, error, hit, walk, error, hit, walk, hit, and we lose. But anyways, my point is, like, to your point of it, certain things you just can't predict. Certain things come out of nowhere. I know I'll be sitting around for 4 hours in the sun.
You
Maybe
gotta be
we
smarter.
would.
You gotta be smarter. You gotta be throwing on the side, getting shade, get
Yeah,
drink.
no, I
Figure out a
did.
way to keep
I
yourself.
was under the tent area. I went in my car even for a few minutes. It was just eating lunch with my family out on this under the tent, and I practically had to be outside for a while. It weighs on you, and you just don't know what
Can
happens.
I throw in something for a minute, Avi?
Yes, sir.
Avi,
Go
can I
ahead.
throw something in for a second?
Yes.
Shout out to your mom. She is one of the real ones. Oh my goodness. I never saw someone so dedicated to the win or a loss of anything than when you lost that game. She was crushed beyond. I've never seen anything like it before. I felt for you because of her.
Yeah,
That's how bad it was.
when I got home, my wife told me, she said she was so my wife said she was feeling so anxious because my mother every pitch was like, I can't watch, I don't know what to do, I can't look, I can't watch, I can't look. In the 7th inning, she couldn't take it anymore. She walked away. She was freaking out.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I didn't know where Avi got this from. This is
That's what I
shocking
was
that his
about to say.
mother
I'm like,
like this.
now this explains so much.
And this was against Yitz's team, Avi.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. Because we listen, us making it to the semifinals would have been a legitimate upset.
And if we would have
and an
lost that
accomplishment.
game, there's no coming back from it. If we would have lost that game, we came with a super team. It's a long day, and it's the first time I got to the championship in this tournament, and I couldn't go, and it killed me. Luckily, I had a great pitcher on my team, and he was dealing. But I said, even if he wasn't dealing, it wouldn't matter. I was done. I was toast.
What do you think it was? Why do you think you were more worn out than other years?
So first of all, I'm old. That's first of all, and I get older every year. Second of
works.
all, I'm in the same situation as Avi for this one. We pitched, and then we sat for 4 hours, literally 4 hours. Our first game ended about 10:40, and then our next game didn't start till 2:30. So we're sitting there doing nothing, and then we're bringing it all in that game. Now it was 0-0, 0-0 heading to the 7th. So we're bringing every pitch's pressure, every single play, and then I was fine that game, and I was fine to the last inning, a little, but then right after the game, I felt like it was over. Dave Norman, by the way, we all know Dave Norman. Right after that game, he collapsed. He collapsed. He had to go in. He got IV. it just happened, and I couldn't. After that, I was done. Uri saw me on the sideline by the championship. I couldn't get in the game. I'm sitting there. Again, our guy was pitching great. Steve Stern, props to him. Great pitcher, and he'll become even better.
Five
As,
pounds prodigy, baby.
yeah, as he gets smarter and stops walking guys and finds a secondary pitch, he's going to be a superstar for sure. But he's great, and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even energize my team. It's such a long day. It's an awesome day. We had Sam in the background announcing everything, trying to energize my team, which wasn't energized at all. But it's a long day. It's a long day, and again,
I want to
Seems like
say
every
something
year
about.
RSK is on the hottest day of the year. It seems somehow.
always,
But
always.
I want to say something though.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
very important thing. The umpires in the tier one, like the ones that didn't play, the kids are they are right because by the letter of the law and because they are USSA certified, once you see lightning, by the letter of the law, it's a half-hour delay.
yes,
Now the fact
yes,
that the other umpires allowed it, credit to them, but they're putting their tuchuses on the line because they
correct.
can lose their. Because listen, I took the course years ago. I mean, I'm not certified anymore, only because I run leagues. I just felt like it was a need to do it. But by the letter of the law, they are correct, and it's unfortunate the delays that happen, but it's really nobody's fault. That's why no one's really complaining, but it's really nobody's fault.
Well, Ellie Race is complaining.
Oh, well, Ellie Race
The
will
one thing that
complain
I
if he
think I
wants.
figured out, everyone was making fun of me the size of my roster going into this tournament, but based off the past years, I figured out that you everybody wants to play every inning, but it's not possible. It's not possible.
No.
And I had one extra infielder and one extra outfielder all day, and it was a constant rotation. Let's in a 7 inning game, everybody played 5, and it
That's
was
How
not
big
easy.
was your
Not
roster?
easy.
Wait, how many men on the
we had
roster? Rory?
15 guys,
And how many do most teams have? 13, 12?
probably something like that.
I
So I
13.
had two pitchers.
I had 14. It's not easy.
I had 2 pitchers, and I think I managed them pretty well. Like Naftali pitched maybe 3 innings all day
I should have done
until the
that.
semifinals. He did not pitch.
No,
He
but
pitched
Ori,
just to
it's
stay
all
loose.
about buy-in. No, it's
Yeah,
all about
I
buy-in.
agree.
If you're bringing 20 guys on a roster and everyone knows their role, then you'll be fine.
100%. We had every inning another guy was sitting out, to get a break, and we had a player just as good filling in. And
Yeah,
it
I
was a
saw
constant rotation.
when I saw Moish Lauer sitting there on the sidelines in the championship for a few innings. I'm like, wow, Uri's team, wow, you guys must be
Yeah,
really
no, he
loaded.
sat, and then Stephen Gindy went out because we had no problem. Samuel just move over to shortstop, and everything keeps rotating. So
Dave, I had the
By
privilege
the way,
of see.
Ori,
now,
you lost me. Ori,
Lost him.
what a play by Sammy Saruya. I don't know if you hear me. What a play by Sammy Saruya. I don't know if I'm connected right now or not.
Yeah, we hear you.
Now we got you. Now we
Hear
got
me?
you, Sam.
someone
Yeah,
keeps calling
okay,
me.
fine. That play by Sammy Saruya.
Stop calling me.
Moscom. That play by Sammy Saruya to end the game. That play. That was a tough pick to end that game.
Yeah, that kid's a great player. No doubt about it.
I'd
I
say
have to go here in a minute, but
No, he's unbelievable. That was. I just
Cruel and unusual punishment. Whatever Sam's doing to us. I'm muting.
yeah, Sam.
I'll see you guys later. I'd love to be on.
Guys, I have to go.
Oh,
I'm
no.
missing my work vocals.
You don't want me here.
Good to see you, Alex.
Guys,
I'm
I'm
missing my
muting,
work vocals. Take care.
Hurry.
Mute Sam for a minute.
I just woke up from field 9. I don't know. I was sleeping there.
I don't want to hear this anymore.
All right,
Everyone
well,
have yourself a great terrific day.
before Uri goes, I have my obligatory comments. I did say before this tournament that if Uri wins another one and officially has more RSK rings without me than with me, I'll be obligated to come on the podcast and officially nominate Uri Adler my 2025-2026 softball daddy. So there you go. I said it. Uri has proven that Avi
Now I'm, in the
Edelman
same, now I'm in the same boat as Steve and whoever else you once put in there. And
He's
I'm
proven
Steve.
that Avi Edelman in the 2023 RSK tournament was just another pawn in his RSK championship box.
The question is, what do I do now? Do I
That's a
retire?
little.
Do I
That's a
continue-
little harsh.
Do I continue going? Do I retire? What do I do with this now? Like, that's the question. Like,
I
there's
think
a-
we
got-
should bring a better team than this year.
Hang it up. But also I see that it seems that Avi has a lot of daddies. That's for sure.
All right, guys, I gotta go. Take care.
Thanks for
Thanks,
coming
Did you
on,
say anything
Harry.
about Avi's mom? No, I'm kidding.
Congratulations,
We just
Eric.
talked. We just talked about that, Ellie. We just got over that little piece of the day right there.
I was there. I was there. I was watching.
So, Ellie, tell us about Field 9.
Oh my. Where do I begin?
Should we get Yossi back on for this?
So honestly, Yossi doesn't want to hear anything from me. I mean, I don't think I even went to him to talk to him about any of this, but it was a rough situation. I mean, we sat there at this field in the sun, waiting for an hour for a meaningless game for an umpire to show up, which he showed up. I think it was 45 minutes late with no gear, and he had no interest basically in going back to his car to get his gear because it was hot. I don't blame him, but he's like, I'm umping the game from behind the mound. People were getting called strikes at their knees, not their knees, their ankles and their head. It was as bad as it gets, honestly. And we none of us wanted to play this game. We coming in, but look, it seems Jonathan was very, very into making this game happen.
Oh, you could have just
wanted
skipped
to
the
win. He
game.
wanted to pick me.
I get he wanted to win. I get he wanted to pick you. But end of the day, we had the hardest draw of the day. We played Lowinger and Adler, and then we played Lowinger and Adler all day.
That's true.
We were 2-0 after the
Yeah.
first two games.
Right.
And it showed nothing for us. We had to stand there in the sun for another 4 hours doing nothing, basically. Just
Why
it
did you
wasn't
have to
like
wait
we
in
had
the
a break.
sun? You weren't.
We would
allowed
have had a
to wait.
break. We would have went away. What would you say? Sorry.
Why did you have to stay waiting in the sun?
Well, because the field had one shaded area, and there was we had family members, a lot of people that were there that were trying to stay out of the sun, and there was only two small tents with a couple of tables underneath it and like 10 chairs. And when Uri came, which was a factor, he had 45 guys on his team. They were all taking all the chairs, and half of them aren't playing the field. So when we come off the field, we're squishing in with them in this little spot. It just nothing felt right about it. I don't know.
Ellie, I only know the smooth, silky, fresh off a championship Ellie race on the podcast. I don't know the salty, prickly, humbling defeat Ellie race. This is a new side.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even be so salty. I mean, we got beat. There's no question about it. We weren't the best team out there because I mean, there was a couple of factors obviously that played. We had one guy no show us who's potentially one of the best softball players in the tri-state area. But
what's his name?
His name is Jack Abadi.
Okay.
That's what
I'm saying. Whatever. That was just obviously a shot in the leg at a point, when we get that. Before we even played an inning, we got a text that he was not coming, which kind of stunk. But
Yossi Rosenberg texted me that you were 50 feet away from the massive tent.
True.
Who said this?
Yossi Rosenberg.
We were not 50 feet away. It looks like it. You are. You feel like you might be, but you can't. Once you get to that tent, it's over. You're sucked in, and you're not getting out. And by the way, that was the Build-A-Bear tent. There was more glitter flying around in the air there than anything. I didn't want to catch any lung-related illnesses, but
my kid loved the Build-A-Bear tent. He made himself a nice little puppy.
My little brother's hugging that beer still right now.
The irony of Ellie saying he doesn't want to catch any illnesses from breathing in glitter is something.
Guys, we all know. Smoke only, but end of the day, it's just, I don't know. Listen, I can't blame anybody.
It's Avi, Ellie. You all have, you're all on A teams. Uri Adler has a dynasty, some call it.
Yeah.
Wait, he's won every year of RSK? That's 3-0?
No, I beat him in 2023.
He had a 1 year interruption. Got it.
Yeah.
How do you? Okay, so where do you guys go from here? I mean, it sounds like this guy's got the tournament by the cojones.
So I'll take it first, Ellie.
Go.
The truth is, Uri's team is great, and the problem we always have with super teams, which he's not, but it is a super team, is after winning a championship when teams try to get better. So in Uri, credit to him, he's like, I won a championship. but I'm not settling. And he picked up
Yeah.
more players and more players. And he
Yeah.
did, which makes Ellie and Avi and me and Yonasan, we got to pick up more players, and we did. You know, Ellie came late into the game with his team, but you know he had two dominant pitchers. I had the best team I ever came with, and you have to do it. Now, is it a great look for a tournament that the same team wins over and over and keeps getting better? I told her this yesterday. I said, you know, I'm happy for you, but it's just not great for the tournament. We know that we were in every game and it was close games, but someone from the outside sees like, what? The same team wins every year. I'm going to go to tier B because I have no chance. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it does make us bring up our game. Like already, I spoke to Yossi, and I'm already working on guys for next year. You know, I had a few guys that didn't show up, which if they were there, I think we would have won. We'll see next year. And I know Ellie knows the guys. If Isaac was there and Max was there, it would have made a little difference. You know, if Jimmy didn't get thrown out of the
Yeah.
championship game,
We didn't get into
Short
Yeah.
that.
fuse Dave.
we had a player who had a double in the second inning, I think, maybe first. And he got thrown out by Dave Norman on that play for arguing obstruction call. So we lost a potentially great hitter.
How
Um,
intensely was he arguing?
I was there. I mean, Yitz was there too, but yeah, it was.
you know, it was enough. But
I've
Dave
only
asked me
ever
after
seen
the
a
game.
player rejected from a game
A charity
for
game, right?
smoking. Ironically enough, Avi was there also. I've never seen a player rejected from a game before. That's pretty wild.
So I'll tell you. Yeah. Okay, I'm saying it was very interesting the way it played out, but he was obstructed around second. Sammy Soria, who is an unbelievable shortstop, does not play short center, so he was lost. He was in the way. He was in the way for Noam Block, the previous batter, maybe it was, and Noam was complaining the same thing. But what happened was Dave didn't see the obstruction. He was like, "You didn't see the obstruction? Like, what's going on?" Add insult to injury, the home plate umpire comes over to him and lets him know that he saw obstruction and couldn't call it because it's not his call. That right away is going to set fuses off. I mean, I know that, you know.
And this was in a championship game?
This is in a championship
I
game.
believe it was the second or third inning. He hit a bomb, and he got thrown out at third base, figuring he'd be safe on the call for obstruct. He got thrown out. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave. I was doing my my unfortunately for the third straight year now my post elimination eating food because of how sad I am with unfortunately the rest of literally every single Five Towns player other than Svi Stern pitching for Yitz, and I leave the eating area to go check out the championship game, and on my way I see I see him there. I'm like, what are you doing here? Don't you have a championship game? Did it not start yet? It's like supposed to start 45 minutes ago. He's like, yeah, I got ejected. I'm like, you're like the arguably best hitter on their team. You're this is like number 3 hitter. I'm like, how do you get ejected?
What was the final score?
4-2.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
It
he
was two
was
up.
arguing that there should have been an obstruction call.
Yeah, he was thrown out
Yeah.
at third, I think.
There was
But that's-
it was obstruction.
It was
but
obstruction,
it
but that's a
called.
hard call to. Sorry, that's a tough argument to make because, like, if the ump doesn't call it, like,
Exactly.
what do you?
Yeah, but you got to go for help. You got to go for help there. You have 2 umpires on the field. You got to go
Okay.
for help. Natan's
But
right
even-
there.
Even if you don't go for help or you get up, you can't get thrown out. That's the bottom line. You know it's a championship game. You can't. Ellie, you can't get unless you're
No,
pinning
100%.
Kahana, you're not getting thrown out.
I hear you. I definitely hear that. There's 2 sides for sure.
So the bottom line, the championship game was 2 up in the 5th or 6th inning. It was there. You know, it was right for the taking for any team.
You know, it goes to show you. You know, me and Avi, we've been running a hardball league for kids, and there's a lot of complaints about the umpires, and it's a hard thing, umpires, right? Because you need to get somebody to work for a few hours in the middle of a Sunday for whatever it is, $60 an hour, $50 an hour. Like, it's not so easy to find that, and you need good communication skills. You need to know the game. You need hand-eye coordination. It's a small group of people that have all those things. So here you have probably the highest stakes softball tournament in the area, and there's complaints about the umpires. You know, it's and it's the championship game, so I assume it's also the cream of the crop, right? And there's still complaints. It's interesting.
Yeah, that happens. We know. You know, you got to play the game. You got to move on. Umpires make mistakes. People make mistakes, and you can't let it get to you. That's the bottom line.
I will say though, in Jimmy's defense, they do. I played in Deal. I played in the YMSL. These guys, the umpires, it's a different world. They're like part of the league. It feels like the guys like are going back and forth with them all the time. I've never seen anyone get tossed, and I've seen things way more than tossing worthy.
Would you
Like,
compare it to a Dom DeRosa 5-town situation, Ellie?
no, it's not even close. I mean, in the 5 towns, you never know what's happening. You could just tell. You can like flinch at Dom, and he might just he might just
No, I'm
ring
talking
you.
about you're talking about the family feel. I'm curious if it's a similar situation with
Oh,
Dom schmoozing with guys all the time.
no. It's not the same. These umpires, it's like I don't even know. They're yelling at each other back and forth. The umpires are getting into the players.
These guys have been in the heat for 8 hours. I mean, they're also on edge. I mean, Ellie, do you think Dave Norman would have thrown you out there? Probably not. Right?
Probably not. He doesn't know
this
Jimmy.
guy.
Jimmy's a scary guy. Jimmy's a scary
He doesn't
guy.
know this guy. This guy's coming at him. What do you can do? If it's you coming at him, no, he's not
100%.
throwing you out. He's going to
I'm
100%.
amazed that this guy didn't watch the end of the game and he went to go eat food.
He came back.
Can't
He
be
came
there.
back. He came back. He couldn't be there, but they allowed him to come back at the end.
He wasn't allowed to stay in the area?
Well, he was still talking. He was still chirping.
Oh, I see.
They allowed him back for the last couple of innings. Anyways, Ellie, you have to answer the question. We have to wrap up soon. What's your next move here with Uri Adler being the king of RSK?
So I'll tell you, I think that one of the big notes from yesterday was I think Uri's team did not play as well as they could have played. I really think that they underperformed and left a lot on the table, and they could have even choked. But like, they had by far the best team, deepest team. There's no question about it. The guys that are sitting on his bench, I'm like looking at them. I'm like, well, you guys don't want to play on a team and actually play. Like I was confused. That's the way I felt. Whatever. A couple guys I did lose to him even. I was like, what's happening here? But it is what it is.
How many Tier A teams have there been historically? It's 4 years of RSK. There were 6 this year. Were there always 6? There were 8,
and then it was all one tier.
There was 8. There was 8 teams in all the first year. The second year there was 16, all one tier.
No, there were 12 first year. No,
8.
I think there were 8. Avi might be right. There might have been 8.
Then it was 16 year 2, all one tier.
We wanted to jump to 12, but it jumped to 16.
And then year 3 was 16 with an 8 and 8, and this year was 16 with a 10 and 6.
So do you think it's possible that there might be less than 6 in the Tier A next year? I just see this Tier A issue.
Dave, the answer is yes, by the way. I'll tell you why.
There'll only be 4 teams, if even, unless they go to a draft, which I heard nobody wants to do. But that's
I'll tell you why there might be less than 6. Effie and the Moroccan team from Muncie, they barely had a team as is. They last second got a team, and they're just I know Uri was saying earlier there were 6 teams. Effie's team was never going to compete with anybody. I mean, I love Effie, never. Even my team, like we were never going to win a semi or championship game. The only reason why we might have even stayed close is because I don't walk guys, and my co-pitchers don't walk guys, and my field is really athletic. They're not, by the way. What I learned from this tournament. Athletic kids who are young and fast and very good in the field are not a Sammy Soria, a Moshe Zin, another like they could fly from right field to left field on a pop-up, but still make the catch like going like this, like it's a different like these kids might be athletic and it's a different game. There were so many times where I had heart attacks, and Yit saw it a couple times in the semifinals where they made the catch, but it was like this or like that or anyways. These kids are all going to Israel, so on my next move I have no clue what I'm going to do. I went from Adler to Yitz, and now my team that I potentially could even grow with a little bit, I'll be fine to grow with. They're gone. They're off. They're out for 3 years now. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if you're stuck with 4 teams in Tier 1 next year, because Effie's team, I think, I would shocked if they're not going to Tier 2. And my team's gone in Israel. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah. So we were discussing that. I was discussing that with Yossi. You might have to go back to everybody being the same, because the problem this year, it was an awesome tournament, but as Ellie, I think, said before, or Uri, I forgot who, I played 4 teams, right? So I played Avi twice, and I played Lowinger twice.
I only played 2 teams.
Glenn was complaining about the same thing. Glenn only played 2 teams also. You didn't like that.
I played 2 teams also, yeah.
But there's nothing to do when you have 6 teams, and if the top 4 teams are so talented, guys don't want to play in that. So you had guys like Josh Flax, Husky Rosenberg, Kleiman, these guys who are Tier 1 players saying, we're going to play in Tier B. We have a chance to win now.
Husky Rosenberg may play with me next year.
Okay, so there you go. You can add a player. So there's options. You go back to everything, together, which is not good because the bottom teams have no chance. Or you maybe even break it up into 3 tiers. You have four, four, and in six, whatever that is, and figure out, which is not great. But it's hard. Or you break up Uri's team and turn it into 2 teams.
Yeah.
It's interesting. In MSL, you guys play one tier, right?
For this
Now,
year.
this year, yes.
Oh,
We
just this year.
probably
Oh, not. No, so it's
we
very
have.
interesting. So it's very interesting. You have these issues with 2 tiers in the. You have similar issue with 2 tiers in the HSL stuff, and the way the night league, the way RL used to run it was to keep the B tier at B level. You could only have a certain amount of tier A players on your tier B team, but that got very gray how you define a tier A player. But I'm thinking something radical. Would actually be to limit what you could have on a tier A team. Like you would have to say, and who decides? The commissioner. 2 or 3 people who know. You know it when you see it. Like Moshe
Yussie's
said.
gonna decide.
Ellie, Steve Romer, talent
You're
cap.
saying he has Nagias. He has too many Nagias. You know it when you see it. And like Ellie, you guys both said, Uri had this amazing team, and then he started adding guys, and it's like, what is that?
No, I can't blame Uri. He brings good culture, and
He's a
people want to play
competitor.
with him.
Also,
Yeah.
Uri knows that. Uri
that
knows,
too.
and
Right.
Uri knows, and is also a little bit. I wouldn't say scarred. I don't think he takes these losses as hard as I do. But year 2, we lost sort of because of that. Our roster stayed exactly the same. If anything, we downgraded year 2. And Menachem Diamond's team at the time bulked up. He got race, he got guys, and they blew us out in the championship. So I think Uri learned from that. And after bulking up for year 3 and winning, he was like, okay, we won, but everyone else is gonna bulk up again. I got to bulk up again, and he bulked up again and again and again. And then his team this year was the
So
strongest
how
he's ever
come you
been.
guys had one tier in MSL this year? Were there not enough teams, or there's different measurements?
So we've always had 1 tier. This year we were going to go to 2 tiers because last year we saw there were some very, very weak teams. And we knew that these weak teams have no chance. But a lot of them complained, like, no, we're not tier 2. Let us be in tier 1. And we said, this year we're going to do a balanced schedule. You're going to play the same teams as everybody else, and we'll see where the chips fall. And we see there's a few teams with 0 wins and 1 win. And so next year we're going to go to 2 tiers. It seems like that's what most people want now. The top 6 teams in the league are going to destroy the bottom teams no matter what. It's happening all year. We've had mercies. We've never had mercies before. We've had so many of them. But when you have such a gap in talented teams, you have to go to 2 tiers. You have to. It's not good for the top guys. It's not good for the bottom guys. Egos side.
Sam, that was a while ago. All right, we got a rep. Is there another tournament this year? Is that Ben Salem thing happening?
I've heard weird rumors about it, but I don't know. I'm not going to touch on them here now.
What are the weird rumors, Ellie? Come on, break the news.
I'm not going to touch up here now. What are the rumors, Ellie?
Listen, Shimon Friedman. I'm just going to say that I got his back here. I can't spill the tea here, but I will say good idea. I heard it's a good idea, and it's going to be interesting. But there's one more tournament also.
It's a secret.
Right now, it's a secret. It's in the works. They're not sure if it's going to happen.
Something, Ellie. I heard that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Wow.
But there's also one other tournament in deal. There's a Care Day tournament.
Yeah.
Kind of not an easy one to get into.
And there's also a big All-Star game coming up.
That's right.
That's it.
Over under, and I'm telling Solomon to pitch a complete game shutout.
What's the date?
July 15th, right? Yeah.
15th.
Yep. Looking forward. And as Ellie said, Solomon has their number, and these guys probably want to come and show that they could hit him. So now it's something because they saw how pitching does it, and they weren't.
Which guys struggled against Solomon?
I guess everybody.
No, names to Ellie that would be on the.
No, it has to be Archie hit him. Archie hit him pretty well, but I mean, Glenn didn't hit him. Who else? Nobody
Glenn
really hit.
Ultimately, Glenn claims he was He had 11 plate appearances, 2 hits and 4 walks. So he reached base 6 out of 11.
He was on base, no question about it. Yeah. He was getting on base. He was getting slotted. We had a slotted runner, and he was.
I remember one play Glenn hit a base hit. They weren't sure if the guy in the outfield caught it or not. So I don't know if they gave him the hit or not. But
that was terrible. That was terrible.
Yeah.
He called it. The umpire called it down.
Yeah, but he didn't say anything, so no one knew what was going on.
Yitz,
No.
what did you think about Glenn calling out appealing that play at home plate? Is it a Bush League move? Is it a big league move?
So, okay. I mean, I have Jeremy Nussbaum on my team for years. Jeremy Nussbaum would do the same exact thing. If you're a competitor and you're in a semifinals game, you do whatever you can. Even if he did touch home plate, you're hoping the up. Would I do it? Probably not. But he's a big competitor, and Ellie Race would do it too. Ellie Race.
I'll be honest with you. I think that it was a little bit the way that went down. It was a little bit not so clear. What happened was he crosses the plate, right? Umpire's still standing there staring it down. When you see an umpire staring it down, you already know that something's going on. And so Yitzy Rosen got the ball and just turned, and guys are saying tag, like maybe tag him. Like, I don't know. Like this is just instinct. Obviously, I'm coming in from the outfield after that play. I'm just like dead. Everyone's like heart ripped right out. You're seeing it pumping in front of you. You're like, this is the worst. We just had so much heart. We came back from down 3 in the top of the 7th, which was the same thing we did to them in the previous seeding game against them. We beat them, and everything felt like it was going our way, and then it was taken away, and then all of a sudden we're back in the field like a minute later, just standing like, what happened?
Pretty
Yeah,
not a good
But to
feeling.
answer the question, if you're a competitor, you do whatever you can. So
Nobody really
Glenn-
appealed. The umpire was waiting to make a call.
Exactly. But even if you did appeal, what do you have to lose? Bush
100%.
League, not Bush League.
If
This is a
nobody
championship
appeals that
game.
play,
It's
what ends up
win or go
happening?
home.
Is the game
He would have
over?
walked
Is
away
that-
eventually. He would have been like, "Oh, you missed home plate," but
Well,
nobody cares.
He said if it would have been 20 seconds more, he would have just walked. It would have been over. That's what he said.
Wow. 20 seconds. All right, Chevra, thanks for coming on. We started with one group, ended with a different group. A marathon hour and 11 minutes.
Wow.
So looking forward to the big day, July 15th, and then looking forward to the mystery tournament that hopefully we'll find out about soon.
Very exciting.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys.
All right.